tales are told of Hades, whose very name inspires fear and penitence, reminding us of the inevitable fate which we all share. I, however, mean to tell you such a tale. Listen carefully.
Now, if you've listened to me harp on about my favourite games at any point in the last year or so, chances are you've heard me talk about Hades. This roguelike dungeon crawler is genuinely an all-time favourite of mine, and that's despite the fact that this isn't generally a game genre that I'm really into. It is just that good, and a lot of people agree, judging by how many awards Hades has won since its official launch in September 2020 on PC and Nintendo Switch, following an early access release in December 2018. But now it's finally getting a console release for PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X and S. And what's more, it's available to Xbox Game Pass. So if you're subscribed to that, you can get downloading it immediately. Listen though, I gotta tell you, this game is so good it will take up hours of your life before you even realize it. And I am speaking from experience because I have spent days trying out different boons and weapon combinations, smacking up demons, talking to all the different characters and getting the true ending, because getting to the end of the game once is just the beginning of your journey. So I thought I'd put all of that cumulative experience to good use and put together some handy tips and things I wish I'd known before playing for the first time for any console owners lucky enough to be diving in and discovering Hades on PS5 and Series X and S in glorious 4K at a target 60 frames per second. Enjoy! Oh, as a heads up, this capture was taken from Nintendo Switch before the console versions launched, just as an FYI. However, the tips should translate to any platform just the same.
I'll have to go with the painful way.
A man after my own heart.
First off, talk to everyone. Hades is a slow burn of a game. It has a really brilliantly written story at its heart, but that story takes time to unfold, and your character, Prince Zagreus, will die many, many times before the end credits. That's fine, and it's supposed to happen this way. One important tip to help keep the story always moving forward, though, is to talk to everyone you meet. I mean, not only is the voice acting and writing great, and so it's just fun to talk to everyone, but doing this will ensure the plot is always moving along, and that means working more quickly towards unlocking items and plot lines that open up later in the game. If you see a character with an exclamation point above their head, that means they have something new to chat about, so make sure to stop and listen.
So let me have it. Give me everything you got.
Keys first, gems later. There are tons of different resources available to you in Hades, and they all work a little differently and are used for different purposes. The most common include Charon's Obol. This is used in shops and can buy boons, health items, and temporary combat buffs, but it's only usable on your current run. When you die, it's gone for good. Luckily, it's the only currency that does this. Gemstones are used at the house contractor within the House of Hades to renovate the underworld. Turns out Hell is in need of a little sprucing. These renovations aren't all cosmetic though. Some will really make a difference on your journey. Darkness is used to upgrade Zagreus' abilities at the Mirror of the Night, located in his bedroom. Nectar is used to be given as a gift to NPCs, deepening your relationship with them and unlocking very useful keepsakes. Chthonic keys are also used in the Mirror of the Night, but more importantly, they're spent unlocking Zagreus' infernal arms, the weapons you'll use throughout the game. Therefore, when starting a new game, prioritize selecting these keys when you see them pop up in the underworld chambers. This is key, see what I did there? To unlocking all of your weapons early so that you can switch up your runs and get a feel for the type of playstyle you prefer. In a slow burn roguelike, making sure you have every tool and resource at your disposal as early in the game as possible is just good sense. And it'll pay off in the long run.
I'll just keep this on me. Ah, cheers for that, Meg.
The early game is all about that setup, getting a feel for all the different systems and introducing yourself to all of the mechanics Hades has to offer. Your first runs will most likely end in death, and that is fine, because with the collection of the resources mentioned above, besides Opal, and more besides, you are getting stronger every time. With any luck, you're also getting smarter with what weapons and boons work for you, by simply trying and testing whatever comes your way. Don't be afraid to experiment with new abilities. That's how I discovered that the Shield of Chaos, upgraded so that its special bounced between multiple enemies, paired with Ares' Doom, was a fast track to my first successful run of the game. Ugh, and what a feeling that was. Also though, prioritise picking up Daedalus hammers when you see them too. These are powerful upgrades for your weapon that can often completely change how they work, while boosting their damage output significantly. They're only applicable in the current run that you're in, but they're almost always worth getting above any other chamber reward that you come across.
Feels lighter than before.
We already mentioned the Mirror of the Night, which is used to upgrade Zagreus' basic abilities. Keys unlock new abilities, while Darkness improves upon them, but each upgrade you unlock is actually 2 upgrades that you're able to swap between. Try each one out, as sometimes the default won't be the one that suits your playstyle best. One that we definitely can recommend getting early though is Death Defiance, which will bring you back to life should you fall in battle. Multiple upgrades will mean you can do this multiple times, which is a complete game changer.
Now we're talking.
Now, we mentioned gems as one of the game's many currencies above, and how they're used at the house contractor to pay for various renovations throughout the underworld. One upgrade at the contractor that you should look at getting as soon as possible is a keepsake collection that you can access at the end of every level. Keepsakes are given to you by characters the first time you gift them a Nectar, a good reason to gift Nectar to as many different characters as possible early in the game. And Zagreus can have 1 keepsake on him at any given time. Each keepsake grants a different perk, extra cash to spend, more damage, bonus health, boon upgrades, or protection from bosses for a number of hits. Some of these keepsakes are really only good for one use though, and they become a bit pointless to carry around afterwards. But with a keepsake collection waiting for you every time you defeat a boss, you can swap it for something more practical to continue on your journey. It's also helpful for leveling each keepsake up, as they upgrade over time with successful use. Be careful when you access the keepsake collection though, because once you select a keepsake and exit the display, you won't be able to go back in and change your loadout again until the next level. Personally, we recommend the old spiked collar from Cerberus, the lucky tooth from Skelly, and the evergreen acorn from Eurydice as pretty great keepsakes to help beginners get started and stay alive for longer.
Got other mouths to feed.
Now, like we mentioned already, at first we definitely recommend giving Nectar to as many different characters as possible. For the keepsakes, for sure, and for the upward social mobility. Don't bother giving more than 1 Nectar to a character until you're sure you've gifted everyone at least once. And try to always have a few spare bottles in your back pocket, because you never know when you're going to bump into someone new. You see, some characters appear at random during some of your escape attempts. Each realm in Hell could potentially hide a new ally, and their presence in a chamber is indicated by a boulder with an exclamation point above the door. These characters can also be gifted with Nectar, so break out the good stuff when you meet them. But you should also prioritize chatting to them, because they each give away some great goodies too. Not only that, but they're all key to completing various side quests in Hades, and are just some of the best written characters that you can find. And that is saying something. So make sure and stop by and see them.
What's going on?
For a long time after you start Hades, you'll still be figuring out how everything works. Every new run will be an adventure. As we've said before, experimentation will often get you further in those early days than simply focusing on boosting your basic damage output all the time. Because not every run will be a win, but they will all still serve a purpose. To add to that, and to give you a few checklists of sorts to work towards for rewards, look into purchasing the Fated List from the house contractors when you can. It's essentially a reward scheme for getting out there, meeting new people, and trying new boons, weapons, and abilities. More will be added to the list over time, so make sure and check back in at the desk every time you pass through Zagreus' bedroom before starting a new run. Now, for the combat itself, practice really is the surest way to improvement. If you can, try and get comfortable using Zagreus' dash strike as standard. It actually does more damage than a basic attack, and keeping Zagreus moving is often key to staying alive. For newcomers, Athena boons are often very helpful in combat, especially her boons that deflect enemy attacks back at them while Zagreus is casting or dashing. Other general tips are to always go for weapon upgrades and buffs that deal more damage to armoured enemies, which really get trickier to deal with from Asphodel onwards. Since you're usually dealing with multiple enemies on the field at any one time in quick successive waves, dispatching foes quickly becomes very important, and finding ways to cut through their armour fast should always be at the back of your mind. Some weapon upgrades from Daedalus hammers will grant extra armor damage to your special or basic attack, as will Nail of Talos items, purchasable from Karen in exchange for Obol. Once you've destroyed an enemy's armor, their attacks can be interrupted, and they become much easier to deal with.
Should come in useful. I can do this.
Really though, Hades is a game that starts fun and just gets better the more you play it. And I'm actually really quite jealous of everyone about to pick it up for the first time. Enjoy the experimentation and exploration, enjoy that stunning artwork and music, enjoy the wonderful storytelling and voice acting, enjoy how diverse and drop-dead gorgeous the entire cast is, just enjoy. Go to hell! Turns out, it's a really great time for everyone. If you enjoyed this video, we have a few more where I gush about Hades on the channel. They should be on screen right about now. So give those a click or subscribe to keep up to date with other gaming content on the Eurogamer channel. And thanks for watching. Bye!